Alright, what's up guys? I am back with another Zoids video. This time I'm going to be taking a look at some of the Zoids from my friend Brad's collection up here in Tennessee, and he has graciously offered to let me take a look at this very rare and unusual kit. This is technically a Zoid known as Geruder, but this one in particular is one released under the Robo Strux line known as Batlar. So this was the first and only line of Zoids released in America in the 80s. So this was basically the English localization of the OER and OJR Zoids in the US in 1985 and 1986. And you would have thought that this line would have done better in the US, but only 18 kits were ever released for Robo Strux, which included such classics as the Gojulus. I've talked a little bit about Robo Strux Terox in the past, but I figured this was a good opportunity to talk about the Robo Strux line in and of itself, and also talk about the Geruder in specific. And this was actually a totally random find, as he found this at a local sort of like used bookstore here in Tennessee. So that was a just a complete out of the clear blue random find, and now we have this really rare Zoid we can talk about. So very, very cool indeed. So in the original Japanese release, OJR, this Zoid is referred to as Geruder. This is just a small Xenobus Empire Zoid that sort of acted as an equivalent to something like the Mulga, but offered a little bit better armor and firepower, although it still lacked in mobility, and did not have good coverage on all sides of it. These sort of Triceratops style shielding that it has on the front there gave it pretty adequate protection, especially from the head, but these were deployed in very large numbers. So it wasn't seen as particularly important that they have adequate shielding on the back or on the flanks. One of the things that is very standout about this is the very signature small Empire Zoid head that all of these Zoids had back in the day. So if you were the Mulga or the Hellcat or whatever you were, you had this exact same style head, or even the Iguan has this exact same style head. And when you pop the head down, you actually get to see a chrome Android pilot in there, which is pretty cool. And this thing has a signature cannon that it has, where it has a sort of three-barreled cannon, which there's a little slider up here on the top that extends the barrels out like that. So it has an electromagnetic cannon right here, and then the three-barreled cannon right here, which is pretty cool. And on certain versions of this, there's also like a missile launcher that can attach right here where this cap goes. So you can see this cap doesn't quite fit over that. It's very loose, and that's because there's another piece that's supposed to go here for like a missile, which does look pretty cool. So in the original European release, this was a red Zoid, and I think the colors were mostly the same from the original Japanese release, Geruder, to the OER Zatan is what it's called. And it was just, you know, a red mutant Zoid from that storyline that didn't really have much in the way of storyline significance. But here in the Robo Strux line for the US release, it was recolored as sort of this blue with teal and silver accents. And this was kind of the color convention for a lot of the blue Zoids in the Robo Strux line. So Terox had the exact same thing, and there were some other Zoids that may have been, you know, Helic Republic Zoids or something like that in the Japanese release that were eventually turned into, you know, mutant red Zoids for the Robo Strux line. So it's interesting how that kind of turned out. But like I said, there was only 18 kits ever released for that, so not that many. I don't think this thing has any video game appearances or comes up in any of the... It's not seen in Zoids Legacy. It's not seen in any of the Zoids Versus games or anything like that. I will be putting in a picture of the Robo Strux box, and Brad does have that. We weren't able to locate it, but one thing that was really cool about it is it has got to be the most 80s looking box you'll ever see. It has these sort of like Outrun style, the lines as you can see there, and just the color template of it is very 80s. It's very brown. And then, you know, just robots and dinosaurs. I can't think of anything more 80s than that. And of course, it needs not even mentioning that this is, of course, a wind-up Zoid. So I don't think there's any, like, there is actually a Tomy copyright on the bottom here. And it should say, it says Tomy Japan, but it doesn't say a year. The copyright on this would probably be 1983, because that's when this was originally released in the Japanese release, although, of course, this didn't see the US until 1985. So let's try that wind-up motor and see if it still works. So it works actually quite well, even better than some of the wind-up Zoids that I have from the Hasbro era. I'm pretty sure Brad also got this unbuilt and actually built it himself, if I'm not mistaken, which is even better that it was such a rare find. If you go on eBay, you can occasionally find Robo Strux Zoids that are unbuilt, but they're outrageously expensive. Of course, the most sought-after Robo Strux kit is Terox, which is the Gojo list that I mentioned. And from what I looked at recently in the most recent Market Watch video, most Robo Strux kits are incomplete, and especially the motorized ones, a lot of them don't have their motors, and there's a lot of them being sold in pieces, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so very, very cool, unique Zoid. I was very grateful I had an opportunity to take a look at it, and it's in really good shape. It's in remarkable condition from something from 1985, and it still has all its decals on there, and I don't know if like I said, that's because he built it right out of the box when he got it, or if it was already built and it just happened to be in good condition after all these years. But definitely very cool, and I'm looking forward to showing off some of the more Zoids from his collection in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.